Good evening, everybody. Welcome to week two of LCUS's second split of its first season. I am Kenos, joined today by our analyst desk, which will be Nickelbacker, Runnin, and Sigtau Lord. How you guys doing tonight?
Yo,
I'm
Woo!
doing
Woo!
really good. Excited to kick things off here for week two.
All right, excellent. Glad to hear it. As you all can see here on our screen, the games we have coming up for you tonight are Cowbell versus Northern Storm, Option 12 versus Triple Strike, and Take the Lantern versus White Wolf. I'm going to pop over to the standings really quick, and everyone is essentially tied. Had a lot of really good, really close games with Northern Storm and Option 12 battling it out, but Option 12 definitely coming out on top there. And most definitely now leading the pack with 3 points compared to everyone else's 1 and 0. So Northern Storm definitely was something to prove tonight. Sig, what are you going to be looking for tonight?
I'm going to be looking for this phenomenal matchup between Option 12 and Triple Strike. We're getting Ace, who played for Triple Strike as the mid laner last split, playing now for Option 12. And after a commanding performance that they showed last week, I'm more than hype. I'm super hype. They're going to have to invent a new adjective to describe Sig right now.
All right, excellent. Nickel, what kind of things are you looking for today?
it's going to be interesting. We have pretty much even Stevens with everybody except for Northern Storm, which is a little bit surprising compared to their performance last split. But it's going to. It seems like that everybody is more on even playing ground. It's going to be interesting to see what everybody's going to be bringing out tonight to maybe get some more shutouts than last week.
All right,
That's what I'm looking for.
awesome. And Running, how about you?
I'm really interested to see the effects that patch 8.4 are going to be having on the games today. I know there's been a lot of changes to the mages and the mid lane, so I'll have to keep an eye on the builds and see how much practice these guys have with the new items and the new updates.
Yeah, that's always something interesting to see how patches make things adjust over there. So just to talk a little bit more about our first match of the night, Cowbell versus Northern Storm. We do have a bit of a clip here that we can go into that just kind of highlights how Northern Storm has been trying to adapt, or their good problem-solving abilities. So I'm just going to play that for the good folks really quick here. And we will see it go. Alright, so we're going in here. Northern Storm had been realizing that there were going to be a lot of invades, especially because that's what Option 12 had done to them in the first game. So we do see them warding here really well. Option 12 is not expecting this at all, and so it gets totally taken out of position there. Jax with a really great stun, and just really good. They don't go in too deep. That's the thing I like the most about this clip. You see them take what they can get and just leave with that. And I think that there was something that a couple of teams were suffering from, more so in the other stages of the game, where they were just kind of jumping in too much. So we'll start with you, Sig. What are your thoughts about how Northern Storm handled that, and hopefully we'll hoping to see more of that from them today?
I really hope we do see some strong performances out of them, but I really like the play that happened here when you roll it out in terms of passives. With 1v1, with level 1 engages, you really don't have that huge toolbox you do as you do later in the game. But Braum, his passive played an intricate role in making sure that they were able to stack out these stuns because it was Jax and then a Braum stun that allowed them to close it out because of his passive. So, very impressive use of passives there.
Yeah, definitely. Runnin, what did you like from this play specifically? Do you think that they were a little too passive? Do you think they could have gone in for a little bit more? Or do you think that them backing out when they did was a good idea?
I do think it was a good idea. I think what they got what they could get and got out, but what they could get was a pretty squishy brand leading the charge there. You have an Urgot and you have a Zac, so maybe you can get some of the tanks in the front. Could have got someone out alive.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, definitely. And Nickel, I mean, obviously beyond just the simple play that Option 12 could have made of not having the brand go in first. If someone else had gone in instead, do you think it would have gone differently, or do you think that they still could have locked a kill down there?
Honestly, at level 1, it would have been interesting to see if one of the tanks were one of the first ones through, but I still feel like that they would have confirmed at least one kill. But you have to hand it to both teams. They were playing pretty defensively. They, as Sig and Ronan both said, they got out when they got that kill, and the the opposite team got out after the kill was made on their team. And it's just it kind of a little bit of burn from the previous game where they saw the invade, right? So they knew that it was going to happen. They just wanted to play a little bit safer. But unfortunately, I feel like that was poor positioning on that brand. But even if one of the tanks were up first, I still think that one of them would have died.
All right. Well, we'll definitely see if Northern Storm is able to pull off a more well-coordinated play as we move into the champion select for our first game here. Really excited to see what the first couple bands are going to be coming out. And it's a Fizz first for Cowbell. Zaya, of course, really good band as well. Interested to see what kind of jungles Cowbell tries to keep away from Fat Lee here. And of course also from Shaken's top lane.
Oh yeah, definitely got to be some priority bans. You got to respect Fat Lee. Man owns the jungle, carries around the axe with him, knows his way around. Really hoping they're able to target him out some. But it doesn't look like that's a priority with the Malzahar ban.
Yeah, it looks like they're focusing a little bit more on the mid lane, taking out the Fizz and the Malz right away. It's interesting.
Well, those are targeted bans that fall right into Sigtal Infinite's champion pool. He does favor a lot of the assassins in the mid lane, so we'll just have to see how this plays out.
Getting that Twitch ban. Twitch, of course, did very well last week, if you guys will recall, for option 12. So maybe don't want some pretenders. And of course, Varus was, I think, in almost every game last week.
Yes, very meta champion right now.
I gotta say, I'm a little surprised by the Malzahar ban, honestly. Gotta get lucky. Well, there's the cannon to prevent from Gotta Get Lucky also. But Gotta Get Lucky does like Malzahar top sometimes. So, I guess they just don't want to first pick it.
If it fits in two players' pools, it's definitely a priority ban.
Alright, so we got a Lux first. Lux game without Ace. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, someone write this down.
Lux got through.
Well, we'll see if Lux is able to be as dominant for Cowbell as it had been for Ace last season on Triple Strike, or last split on Triple Strike. And oh, Fat Lee gets Udyr. That's going to be punishing, I think. What do you think Cowbell can do to counter this, Nickel?
It's hard to say. We people from the first split probably remember Fat Lee's Udyr from. Yeah, that was not a pretty sight for the opposing team. I feel like that you're going to need a jungler with a little bit more mobility to kind of like counter that Udyr, because his ganks are on point. He's moving through the jungle. Sejuani, I don't know. Actually, that might be a good pick on that.
I think it would be, and this is also the performance premiere of Sweet. He's definitely going to be putting his best boots on with that Sedge.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd like to point out with the Udyr pick, with the removal of Tracker's Knife, that's going to take away a lot of the vision that Sejuani otherwise would have been able to get down. It's going to be more difficult for them to keep track of that Udyr than they otherwise would have.
Yeah, it's an excellent point, and I think Sejuani might be able to do well fighting, like if they run into each other in the jungle, just due to a lot of her CC. But we'll have to see how it goes. Alistar getting picked up by Cowbell. I can't imagine what skin they'll use for that. And it looks like the mid lane is probably going to then be Lux and Xerath. So that's a very interesting, little more range mid lane.
And again, I think that's two champions that lately have definitely been taking advantage of the new itemization that mid lane has brought out from the patch.
Yeah, definitely.
Not to harp on the patch, but
well, I mean,
I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, the patch is very relevant to this because it's going to impact a lot of changes for a long time. At least for today, if not for the following weeks. Alright, so we see two ADCs banned out, definitely trying to box in the bot lane picks for Cowbell.
Who do you think can come out here from Cowbell?
Let's see. I mean, Ezreal's possible, maybe.
Uh,
Misfortune's been strong.
yeah, not many picks left. They've really respected Bandana this game.
I'd
Bring
love
out
to.
the Jinx.
Yeah, Jinx is possible. Um, I'd love to see. God, it's this is embarrassing. The name is escaping me. The paint.
Which one? What's he
crazy
do?
painter.
Jin.
Jin. Yeah, I'd love to see Jin. For some reason, Jace kept popping in my head. That's not Jace, guys.
I wouldn't be too surprised if he brings the Jinx back out from last week, right?
Yes, that would be he did show a very commanding performance.
I think that was his win. Carried pretty hard.
But I mean, Jinx has so much less range than Caitlyn. That might be a bit of a disadvantage. Draven, forgot about Draven.
Draven didn't forget about Draven.
No, of course not. All right, now we'll see what this the top lane is.
Oh.
Unless it's top lane Alistar, which would be hilarious.
I do disagree with the Draven pick into a Nami. Nami's going to be able to
yeah.
really utilize the advertising of the catching axes.
Caitlyn as well.
Yeah.
She gets a good trap.
Yeah, incredible range right now from Team Northern Storm.
Ooh, Renekton. All right. I think I think the Draven was more of a everything else is banned out, so I guess I got to pick Draven.
Well, he's a strong carry choice in this comp right now because they don't have the incredible damage that you'd expect, but in a wonderful team fight composition nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the problem is, I mean, looking at the team that Northern Storm has, 4 of those characters can then predict where Draven's going to go and shut him down as he heads for his axe. You've got traps, you've got stuns, you've got knockups, you've got prisons. It's just not going to be the best time to be catching axes in Dravenland, in my opinion. I mean, if someone wishes to tell me I'm wrong, please.
I just think it's something you have to learn as your Draven player as well, though. Brandana seems to be pretty on top of his ADC game. If he's got his mechanics, I mean, he should be used to it by now. If he's as good as he's been in the past week, then he should be able to deal with it. If not, then, I mean, I guess we'll see.
Oh, yeah, and I think it's going to be a very interesting match if you look at it in terms of composition. With Team More Cowbell, it's a team fight comp focused on getting those team fights, probably objective control, versus a siege comp with a Xerath and a Caitlyn. You're able to just stand outside range and just continually poke those towers. So it's going to be a game of push versus objective. I'm excited to see how it plays out.
I'm really looking to see how well Cowbell does here, just because they have 3-ish tanks. And depending how Udyr is built, there's only really 1 tank for Northern Storm. And we've seen in the past that teams with 1 tank against teams with multiple tanks generally don't always do that great because they don't have enough meat to stand up or to contest the defenders that the other teams have. So, I mean, if Storm gets ahead in this, I'm sure they'll do well, but I'm honestly thinking of giving this to Cowbell here just because they have such defense that can protect Draven and Lux.
I can agree wholeheartedly. The only thing that they might run into is if they do get caught in some intelligent picks from Team Northern Storm, and they're able to kick those carry legs out from underneath Draven and Lux, you prevent them from snowballing. It doesn't matter how tanky you are. You just can't survive.
Very true. Nickel, what do you think of these teams?
I mean, that's really what you and Sig is probably going to be the name of the game. If Northern Storm can get ahead early and able to get levels and items, I feel like that they're going to have a major advantage over Cowbell. They won't have time to get tanky. But again, these teams have shown us last week that they're playing more defensively, so I feel like that Cowbell, I might have to give it to Cowbell as well, because if they just turtle up and able to get to the late game, I feel like that they're not going to be able to be stopped.
All right. Running, what do you think about the top lane matchup we've got here, Renekton versus Sion?
I think overall, the Cowbells kind of drafted a win lane, win game. Renekton's definitely going to be pretty aggressive. But Sion's very tanky and can survive lane pretty well. Might need to have Udyr poke his head up there. Renekton doesn't look like he's taking Ignite, so he possibly won't be quite as aggressive. Otherwise, he probably sees the Sion, doesn't know if he quite has the kill pressure as he would have some other matchups.
Hmm. It's also worth knowing the Lux has teleport, whereas the Xerath does not.
We'll
So,
have to see
yeah.
any spell books in this game.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, Spellbook, of course, would be a big deal, and also just seeing if Lux can take advantage of her ability to move around like that, compared to Xerath, who will be a little more stationary in lane, but also a little bit more durable, because he did take barrier instead of teleport. All right, so we are moving into this game. I believe Sig and I are on the casting first for this set. So thank you, Running and Nickel, for your insight on this, and we'll see you guys after the game.
Absolutely. See you guys.
All right, time for the real fight, Skin Wars. Yeah.
Indeed,
Woo!
the most important part. I'm expecting a Spirit Guard Udyr out of Fat Lee.
It very well could be. Definitely not. Definitely not, Udyr.
Once I get off this black screen, here we go. Yep, Spirit Guard Udyr. Um, I mean, Elementalist Lux and Mukau Alistar are always great, but I think Spirit Guard Udyr and Pulse Fire Caitlyn might lock it up. I don't know. It's pretty even.
I would agree. Scorched Earth Renekton, absolutely beautiful skin, but the splash art is just horrendous when you compare it to the rest of the art he has. Just too feral. Just a big turnoff. A good 3 out of 10 for me.
I'd prefer if it had like a little bit more obvious teeth. The teeth. It took me a minute to even see them. It looked like it was just part. He just had a bunch of gums.
Yeah. Yeah, a little more scary if he just has gums, to be frank, but
I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of Primetime Draven either, to be perfectly honest. I don't know.
some of the best voice lines, but outside of that, it's not very impressive.
Mhm.
Just on the aesthetic, it's not impressive. But the voice lines, oh yeah, great there.
Speaking of not very impressive, Sweets holding us up here. Yep, there we go.
Hey, toast is done.
All right, so once the final things go on here, I'm expecting, of course, we're going to be hearing a lot of that cowbell going off for Team Cowbell.
We've done something in a past life to deserve that. Well, wonderful. While we're in this short lull, I do want to invite everyone, please make sure you subscribe to us. We did recently pick up the subscribe option. Make sure you use those Twitch Prime subscriptions. And heck, check out our YouTube channel as well. We'd love to have you. GMA Game.
Yeah, we'll just highlight how good this Renekton skin is once the splash art is not tainting it. And the cowbelling has already started, so we're going to take a look at Northern Storm for a minute. Alright, so we'll see how aggressive they want to go early here. Obviously, there was discussion about how teams are being a little more cautious, but we did have 3 invades last week. And there's the cowbell.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Yeah, kind of leaving the blue side for cowbell little vulnerable there, and Udyr is definitely trying to take advantage of it. Is spotted though. Oh,
Sometimes getting the timer's enough. Oh, okay.
yeah, we'll have to see if cowbell wants to take advantage of this at all or not. Obviously, with the Udyr at their blue buff, they then know that the other side's blue buff is open. So it is possible we'll be getting a across the river jungle to start with. Though obviously that leads to its own concerns.
Yeah, a lot of jungle rotation can mean that lanes aren't they're not able to go to lane as quick because you want to make sure you can test those early objectives like the blue buff and red buff.
It's also worth noting that Caitlyn started with Doran's shield, whereas Draven started with Doran's blade. So Caitlyn's a little more expecting to take a little more damage early, I guess.
And that itemization will definitely protect against that. So some good choices there. I do believe Caitlyn has a higher AD right off the bat at level 1, so probably a good choice here.
Let's see here. Yeah, I mean Draven is currently at 78, but that is thanks to the +8 attack from Doran's blade, whereas Caitlyn's at 71. So yes, a little bit higher damage by I believe 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
Get that poke. Draven could get caught out a little bit there. Went into the dragon pit, but they don't manage to make a move on it. All right, Renekton does seem to be calling for no, maybe just spreading awareness of it. I'm actually surprised that
Minions have spawned.
Shaken and Fat Lee didn't drop a ward in that bush. Gotta get lucky, gonna be in a little bit of trouble. Oh,
Call the weak. Make sure you let them know you're there.
yeah, just a little reminder. Hey guys, I'm here. We know you're here. All right, so they definitely know that spot out. Then another ward dropped down just to keep an eye on that blue buff. But I mean, Udyr seems willing, or Fat Lee seems very willing to try to take this. Not sure it's his best idea. Sion does show up. Sion has not picked his skill yet. We'll see what he decides to go with. Oh, Sion goes shield first, just to try to win this fight a little bit better.
And we do see the blue buff taken by Fat Lee. Let's see if it looks like Sedge is looking to maneuver into topside jungle.
Quick level 2 gank here. Lux just wisely backs off. Alright, so it looks like Sedge will get that blue buff relatively uncontested. Does drop a little bit of a ward down just to make sure. Worth noting that Sion is now going to have a little bit of an earlier level 1 laning. A little bit weaker, just because he picked shield first.
Yes, that and without he will have that burst damage at the end of the shield, but not that useful when it comes to taking care of someone like Renekton, who has incredible sustain.
Also then mean he may inadvertently push the lane a little more than he wanted to, because he's dealing a lot more AoE damage than he might choose to otherwise.
Sedge being chased right now in the river. Oh, we did see the flash go off.
Really good flash. Yeah, great play there by Sejuani. That's one of those flashes that I probably would have just failed and just gone a little bit further toward the wall. Alright, big fighting going on now. Renekton's getting really pushed back.
Looks like shield was the correct call for Sion. Good call there on Shaken.
And we'll see if he tries to do anything more aggressive under tower or not. Renekton is healing very nicely though, especially thanks to the healing from the Doran shield.
Yeah, it's very difficult to attack a Renekton under tower, so I hope we don't see that. Better yet, I hope we do, and I hope it leads to a really awesome play.
Alright, so Lux and Xerath seem very much just to be trading blows back and forth, nothing too horrific coming out of there. Lux needs to be, of course, careful. Oh, missed first blood, look at that.
Very good flash there from Shaken Not Stirred to secure that as he had the shield up, and it was just an auto and a complete. Able to get first blood for Team Northern Storm.
I guess I was giving Guy to get lucky a little too much credit, thinking he'd go back, but I suppose he is more of an aggressive player. And just takes a ton of damage right off the gate. This Sion is not to be messed with at all. I definitely need to keep more of an eye out there, considering that Shaken is just destroying. Got to get lucky here early on.
Well, Renekton's one of those champs where he'll make it. He'll get there. With his ultimate ability, he's able to keep up in team fights. So I can understand the amount of pressure that they're not putting up there right now. But we do see Sedge in the top side red jungle.
Yeah, I believe they might have spotted Fat Lee in the blue side jungle. So she probably feels a little more confident going in there, getting the Raptors. Udyr kind of trying to sweep. Might be rotating down here. May just be just for the sake of getting back to jungle, though there is a really good play going on here by Mr. Pig, blowing a big combo on the Caitlyn. Caitlyn flashes out and then comes back. Gets really good poke damage off there on the Draven as well. But they don't manage to secure anything. And I'm sure Draven will be able to heal up here nicely thanks to the help from Mr. Pig.
Oh yeah, that passive heal that Alistar provides, very, very good to capitalize on with those constant stream of movement and pairing effects that Alistar provides.
Alright, so we see Sion returning to lane, having stacked up with a second Doran's Ring and a Cinder. So definitely going to not even worse now standing next to Sion. Never mind the fact that he's just investing in get further ahead items like Doran's Ring.
Oh yeah.
Got to get lucky, of course, wisely using some of Renekton's movement abilities to avoid the worst of Sion's abilities. But I mean, Sion is already at 6, so now not only is there the knockups and the slows, he also has his stun. All
And
in
he's
all,
got Flash coming across from Gotta Get Lucky to escape that knockup.
yeah, lot of flashes being blown early here. Of course, obviously for good reason, but it's just interesting to see so much utility now going to be lost from the players from various other sources. It'll be interesting to see how that impacts them.
Well, with this team fight comp going against the pick comp that Northern Storm is running, you really can't burn those flashes. You got to hold on to them for those vital escapes, and here in the next 5 minutes, it could be penalized.
Yeah, we gotta get Lucky's going back. We'll see what kind of items he chooses to invest in, considering how poorly the lane is going for him.
Now, in the bot side, we do see there is a big farm discrepancy, equivalency of a kill in favor of Draven, which we'll see how he snowballs that.
Yeah, definitely. Alistar is really helping to establish some lane presence down there, because while the combo of Nami and Caitlyn can be very dangerous, Alistar just has such a danger aura surrounding him, for lack of a better term, where you just know what's going to happen if he gets close to you.
Oh yeah, and where his heal is a passive and doesn't cost mana, it's very difficult for Nami to not be taxed and just constantly having to hold on, make sure you're healing at the right time.
Alright, Lux and Xerath are both beyond level 6 now as well, so the lasers are going to start coming, and they're going to start coming fierce. Renekton trying to be aggressive on Sion, but Sion is just so far above him in health currently, thanks to Sion's passive, not to mention just his natural tankiness.
And 30 CS. It never hurts to be ahead by 30 CS.
Indeed. Yeah, one level. I mean, we got 1400 health versus 1000 max, that is. So Sejuani and Udyr may be running into each other here briefly. Let's see how this fight goes. Sejuani wisely attempts to get out. Udyr wants to chase, though. Fatley wants a piece of this. Next flash is burning. That flash must have just gone off of cooldown, too. Sion had charged down to try to help, but just headbutts a wall. So now Renekton gets a bit of a reprieve. Might try to take out this control ward and get away with it. Yeah, so for all the focus on the mid lane, Lux has very wisely survived for much of it. There's been several, at least, partial attempts to dive in on her, but she's been able to get out every time.
Oh yeah, and because of her CS lead, she does have a she has a gold lead there, and she's getting ready to have her stopwatch kick in too, so she's going to become very difficult to deal with. We do see a gank come across the mid lane. Looks like Sigtal Infinite is going to go down, primed in, and Sweet able to capitalize on that kill going over to Sweet.
Yeah, that definitely shows the strength of Sejuani's CC abilities. Renekton's going to be in a lot of trouble here, too. Even with that ult, there's no... Well, no, he does manage to get out.
And it looks like first tower might be going over to Team Northern Storm.
Yes, it was a pretty close move there by the Nami almost getting taken out. Sejuani kind of wanted to go in on that, but unfortunately there was no minion wave to back it up. Oops, Sejuani's going to try anyway. Does get spotted, though.
Very good ult by Nami to keep herself alive, but let's see if she's able to make it to that tower to escape.
Yeah, Sejuani's taking a lot of damage here, and there is a ward there as well. Gonna have to... Oh, Cone's the wrong way!
Oh, that's gotta hurt. Looks like she will make it out alive, though.
A last-second snipe would have been amazing, but unfortunately it doesn't happen. It would have been blocked anyway, of course, but still would have been cool to see. Alright, so now, not satisfied with just being able to take a turret, Fatley is now taking out the Rift Herald.
Commanding performance by last year's champion jungler.
See where we can go from there. So definitely a commanding lead by, well, not, commanding for this stage in the game at least, by Northern Storm at this point. Even though they are down in CS in mid and bot lane.
Got to make sure your money's on your carries. Don't bet on 13.
You'll have to see how it goes. I mean, obviously the 2 kills are on Renekton, who has now completed his first item with the Tiamat. So still not necessarily taking items to deal very much with this Scion. Just following his build path and I guess hoping it works out for him.
Sometimes you just got to keep trucking and make it to team fights.
Also a little surprised we haven't seen too much of focusing on the dragon at all. Good job by that Nami stealing the crab though.
That's a micro objective control there. Very good job.
Xerath seemed to think they might have been able to get something out of the Sejuani, but backs off because Sejuani is now in the jungle. Udyr looks like he's going to try for an invade. We'll see how that works out for him. Lux, of course, can be able to come down and support. Sion looks like he wants to gank. Oh! Really good flash stun there. That... Nope. Oh. Alright. 2 flashes burned and an ultimate, but they do manage to secure Lux.
Very well played and good rotating by Team Northern Storm as they prepare to take a second turret in the mid lane.
Renekton's trying to come and help, but with all the meat here and just Renekton's general inability to handle the top lane. Sedge is here too, though, so at the very least, she scares Sion off. Sion may still go down here. Alright. Excellent job there. May get 2. Nope. Alright, Udyr might maybe think about going back in on this. I'm sure Xerath is upset he used his ult on the Lux. And they wisely back off. Rift Herald will go down here.
Not before dealing an incredible amount of damage.
Yeah. Alright, so 2 towers taken out here by Northern Storm. They clearly wanted to finally get some points on the board for the split. Especially considering how well they were doing against Option 12 last week. It was just a nail-biting first game that kept them off the scoreboard as well. Kept us out of a 6-way tie, which would have been hilarious. And now we'll see how they decide to take advantage of this 2K gold lead. 2.5K.
Well, this is really the outcome that Northern Storm wanted. With the comp that they have, they really need to take off earlier in the game and avoid these late-game masters like Draven from taking off. So that's working out well for them, but we'll just have to see once team fights kick in. It could be a big turnaround.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other point, and something I always love watching, as I've said before, with the top lane is what happens when the rest of your team starts joining in the fights. We haven't seen anything much out of the bot lane at all. Except for a few engagements here or there that almost became kills, but not quite. So just checking to see what will happen once that Draven starts landing some of those axes on, say, Xerath or Udyr will be very interesting for both teams.
Looks like we are seeing some setting up for the dragon, making sure they protect those objectives. Wards from both teams in that pit.
Cheeky trap there by Caitlyn that Alistar almost steps in. Gotta get lucky he's playing it much safer now. Udyr is right there though. It's interesting to see how aggressive Fat Lee is being with this jungle this time. But
it is. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but I mean, Fat Lee's always been rather aggressive. It's just really owning wherever he wants to go in this game.
When you're playing Udyr, that's the model. You do what you want to do, go where you want to go. We do see a gank coming in mid lane. Sigtal Infinite going down from a combination of activities. Sedge throwing down the CC with her ultimate. Draven Axe is coming in, and the kill going over to Sejuani.
Yeah, Lux used her laser there too, so 3 ults to secure Xerath. And now Alistar runs face first into Sion. Sion's got 3 levels on him. So maybe not the best fight for our poor little mascot. Renekton had to ult to get out of that one, but does manage to survive. And it looks like they're going to be backing off. Caitlyn, meanwhile, has taken the bot turret and should be able to do so rather uncontested. So 3 turrets now.
Yeah, all the tier 1 turrets are down in favor of Team Northern Storm. Much more commanding performance this week as opposed to some of the failures that they had last week.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see how they're able to take advantage of this now. Once again, we don't really have too much in the way of alternative objective control, let's call it. I mean, obviously they got the Rift Herald and they've gotten turrets, but Dragon has remained uncontested for 15 minutes now. Probably because Fat Lee is having too much fun owning everything in the jungle to spend time going after dragons.
Yeah, not many men can look a Lux ult in the face, and Fat Lee did not budge.
And also another matter for Fat Lee's just absolute dominance is there isn't too much vision coming out of Cowbell in this game. I mean, they have a couple of wards in the jungle that I think some of them have just been set up now, and there isn't much elsewhere that really gives them an idea of where Udyr is outside of those areas in their own jungle.
Oh yeah, it's not just about vision control in your own jungle, but spreading that vision out so that you can see what's going to happen before it happens. And there's no real preparatory vision out there on behalf of Team Cowbell.
Nice to see Draven almost steal that dragon. Little close. Draven isn't quite as far ahead in CS anymore as he would like. That Caitlyn being alone down in the lane definitely helped her catch up.
We do see a possibility for the team fight to start taking off, as this team fight comp is grouped together as 5 as Cowbell pushes down the mid lane.
Yeah, this turret is definitely a focus. I don't know if they'll be able to get it though. We do have 4 members of Northern Storm there to hold it, especially with that big Scion in front. Udyr, meanwhile, is split pushing. Renekton seems to be heading back to try to prevent that.
Yeah, Siege cancels, folks. Everybody go home.
Yeah, we can clearly see how well Northern Storm's lead is helping them out. All the tanks are too scared to try to engage on these big, well-fed characters that they've got with the Scion especially.
Yeah, you got to be careful you don't play in their hand. Now we do see, got to get lucky, is using his ult, trying to escape possible action in mid lane, but Udyr still keeping up that strong pressure in the top.
Ooh, Lux is in a lot of trouble here. Xerath is going to try to focus her down. We'll see if he manages to do it. Flash burn there, and now the big ult from the Nami comes in. Laser thrown down, a little bit of a knockup. Sejuani's in a lot of trouble. Alistar is too, but at the moment they're both able to get out. Snipe doesn't even kill Alistar. Alistar gets out with about 30 hit points. Renekton's trying to come down at least. Hopefully there is a warning there about Udyr waiting in the wings. So no one dies, but definitely establishing their presence nonetheless.
Yeah, that's what happens when you don't communicate those targets effectively. Everybody's attacking the different champions, and you're not able to secure those kills, but it looks like Draven's going to make it out as well.
Yeah, nice attempt by Fat Lee to try to lock that down, but Draven just manages to flash and he gets away too. So, I mean, good job by Cowbell staying alive. Being down 4k gold, 3.5 is never a good thing, but it could have gone a lot worse.
Oh yeah. Mr. Pig going in for those deep wards. Sejuani is with him.
Looks like they're trying to push this next turret. Creep Wave's a little far behind them though. Sedge's in a lot of trouble though, getting caught completely out here, but her tankiness is helping quite a lot. Good job by Alistar. A lot of stacking abilities here. This could turn around for Cowbell pretty easily, and it looks like it has, taking out 2. Might be able to get some more. Pig's in a lot of trouble and probably going to go down there though. Or taking out 1
Nope.
and then 2 the other way. But everyone's really beaten there. I'm surprised Lux and Draven aren't trying for a little bit harder. Both their ults are down.
If Cowbell wouldn't have trickled in there so slowly, we would have seen that team comp that they've built really kick off, really activate. The damage coming across from Draven and Lux was incredible. So if they can secure a solid team fight, it's just proof. Doesn't matter the gold lead, how far they are behind. They're going to be able to come back.
Yeah, and Renekton not being there in the fight probably hurt them a little bit too, but Renekton was trying to split push. Did manage to get some good damage on that turret, but Scion chased him off.
Shows you don't need TP on Scion as long as you got your ult up, right?
Indeed. Alright, so the gold lead is still about 3.5. So not the best thing in the world, but nice to see Cowbell still able to do pretty well in those engagements. I'm not sure where Renekton thinks he's going here. Okay. Right. Nice trap well set up there by Caitlyn. A lot of slows going down on Alistar, but does manage to get a knock up to try to create some separation. A lot of slows though, probably going to end up dying here. Yep.
sometimes you need to pocket that ult and let the death happen. He might have been able to use that Alistar ult a little bit later in the game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's especially true simply just because the damage while there wasn't necessarily so catastrophic. I'm sure he might have been thinking his team could have come in and helped turn that around. But, you know, like you said, one death in the grand scheme of things is the end of the world on a support.
We see Fat Lee going to town on Gotta Get Lucky in the bot lane. Looks like he will even take him out directly under tower with some flair too.
Yeah, it is rather unfortunate when your top lane is as far behind as Gotta Get Lucky is in this position. Because, you know, you're trying to have them teleport to counter split pushing, and if they're 4-1, that's not something they really can do against a Fedu here.
Ooh, incredible Xerath stun landed on Draven, and it looks like they will secure the kill as Fat Lee takes the tier 2 tower for the bot lane.
And there we see that Alistar ult coming into effect, where he's able to walk in, do some disruption, and walk out. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be much of anything to help. As we said in the earlier game, if you're not fed, no matter how tanky your tanks are, you're not going to be able to stop what happens. We are seeing that happen now. Really good attempt by Gotta Get Lucky this time. With some help, they might be able to get this Udyr. Udyr is trying, Fat Lee's trying to decide if he's turning or not. Tower really helps them in that instance. Sion left all alone is probably going to get taken out here. We'll see. He's getting away. Really good movement speed here. Xerath's going to go down for sure. They do manage to take out the Renekton again, but now Draven has caught up. Taking out the Sion, trying to go for more. Draven does not have flash, but it doesn't matter now he's caught up with the Caitlyn. Fat Lee tries to come around. This could turn into an ace. And it does.
That's the team fight that Cowbell wanted this whole time. I think we're going to see the beginning of a turnaround here. Despite everything that happened with the loss of 2 towers and a inhibitor, if I'm correct, that they were able to hold that to just a 4K gold lead still. So incredible play by Cowbell, despite the high pressure front that Northern Storm's bringing down.
I would have liked to see a little more of out of Cowbell. In terms of what they did after getting that ace. Sejuani, I think, was still alive, so they may have been able to go in on that dragon. But instead, they just go back and sort of defend. Good job by the minions top lane for them, getting that turret and putting one of their turret markers on the board. But, I mean, all they really did with that fight is more just trying to make sure they weren't falling so far behind, because, I mean, now the gold lead is 4K. So, I mean, they did a great job with the ace, but they haven't done much else with it.
Yeah, it's an uphill climb for them. I hope they're able to make it. Now, it is important to point out that minions are the silent 6th man.
Yeah, they're going to have to look out for the super minions in mid lane as well. Now going for that dragon, Cowbell's going there. Xerath has spotted this out and is going to try to at least harass them, if not steal it. Nami's here too with a big ult. But while they're distracting them, their teammates are going for Baron. I don't think that Cowbell realizes this.
It's going to be a slow Baron. They have time to think it out.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very slow Baron. Caitlyn is not dealing as much damage as she might like, and Sion's taking a lot of damage as well, though his shield, of course, is helping him. Of course, distracted by the super minions, there isn't any way that Cowbell can counter this. Though a Draven ult up there would have been hilarious. It may have actually stolen it if he had done it.
Yeah, Fat Lee was not in a position to secure that with Smite.
So this Baron buff, probably a surprise. Though they probably could have spotted the fact that no one had seen Sion and Caitlyn for 45 seconds. But now we'll see how they deal with it. Super minions, of course, are scary in any form, Baron buffed or not. Looks like they're grouping up more in the top lane. Nami patiently waiting for Sion to come join her.
Some good bush swimming technique there. Very impressive. Left, right, left, right.
Udyr going back for his buffs. Probably going to try to keep the split push train going once the rest of his team starts pushing in the top lane.
Worked well at first. Why not keep going?
Indeed. Yeah, and once again, it's really unfortunate that Renekton doesn't quite have the presence to stand up against him. Does have his Black Cleaver finally, but it's going to get picked off right here. So not going to help at all. Alistar and Draven are fighting Udyr, but for Fat Lee, all he needs to do is just freeze this lane, because Draven has to go back and help his team at top.
Yeah, kind of in a lose-lose situation there.
Yeah, Scion does try to get the knockup, but doesn't manage it. Good ultimate. Laser misses completely from Lux. That's unfortunate, but Draven's ult has done some of the chip damage. Big Redemption comes down. Turret is taken out as well, and Fat Lee's going to get the other one. So all inner turrets have been taken out, or all the inhibitor turrets have been taken out as well. Alistar now trying to go blow to blow, but Udyr is 4 levels up on Pig.
Very difficult to manage. This is the thing that you have to fear about a siege comp like Team Northern Storm has. They can just keep pushing, and there's not much you can do about it if you're behind.
Yeah, and Cowbell, to their credit, is trying their hardest to stay in this, but I think this is pretty much going to be game. Udyr could probably win the rest of this himself. And he's certainly trying to. Despite a very valiant headbutt there by Alistar.
KDA. This looks like this is going to be the end of Game 1 as we see Northern Storm take down the Nexus in a very strong power play after that Baron.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to see Northern Storm now secure a win here as well, putting them on the board for the first time this split.
Now that is a return to form from the Northern Storm we saw last split.
Absolutely. All right, yeah, so great job there by Northern Storm. Just secured owned the game through all stages thanks to some strong top lane play, and just no one else managing to get picked off or falling behind at all.
No, and the issue that they ran into, Team Cowbell wasn't able to deal the damage they needed to. Brandana led the team with 10k damage, but the closest after that was 8k, and that was between Primadin and Sweet. Primadin and Sweet just were not able to keep up and cause those team fights that they wanted at those objectives.
All right, Runnin and Nickel, you guys with us?
Yes, I am.
I am here.
All right, excellent. We'll start with you, Nickel. What are your takeaways from this first game?
Well, I have to say, good on both teams. I mean, and it's kind of like what we were saying at the beginning. Like a lot of us were favoring Cowbell in that matchup because of the tankiness, but we also did mention that if Northern Storm was able to get an early lead, that they probably would be able to take the win home, and that's exactly what seemed to happen. I mean, we had Shaken on Scion able to shut down that Renekton. I mean, everybody saw it. Renekton wasn't able to do much after in late game, which was poor on his part. I mean, he got slammed by that Udyr towards the end of the game. I mean, just poor luck on that part. I mean,
definitely unfortunate there. Runnin, what do you think we should be looking for in the next game for Northern Storm to try to do better for him?
For Northern Storm, I mean, they can do exactly what they were doing. I think Cowbell's the one that's going to definitely have to make adjustments. They had this strong bot lane with Alistair Draven that you expect to get kills, that you expect the rest of the team to put some resources in, especially early game. We just didn't see that. We need them to start getting rolling a little bit earlier. I know you really also from the jungle. I know you really want to get those kills secured, but maybe Sejuani letting the carries pick up some of those kills. That first kill mid lane, maybe that was more of a kill secure, but they had the Xerath locked down mid. Both the Lux and the Draven ult could have taken her, but she went ahead and took those. That's just not really who you want the kills on. As Cowbell, when you're drafting like a tank like that in the jungle. I think you just need them to play more to their win condition and just be more aware of where they need their resources to go.
Yeah, well said. Okay, so we're going to go to a really quick break, and when we come back, I think we're going to have a brief interview we did before the game between Sigtao and Gotta Get Lucky. So we'll hear a little bit more about how Gotta Get Lucky views this matchup, and hopefully that'll be very insightful to all of us. So please stay tuned. We'll be right back.